Boom! Welcome back to the channel. It's the Mac. And welcome back to another showcase or let's play of naval campaigns, Kriegsmarine, from Wargame Design Studios, and a John Tittle Legacy game as well. Right, so here we are, Kriegsmarine, naval campaigns. All right, so right off the bat, as I usually say, well, I don't have much experience with naval campaigns. Actually, this is the first title I've ever played in the naval campaigns series of released from John Tittle and Wargame Design Studios. So, I want to thank them for actually giving me a review copy of this actually very latest release of their games. So we know there's lots going on now. They were reworking the games and they're producing new titles, and there's some really exciting stuff going on at that company. And we are getting some really cool versions of the old John Tiller games and new titles as well. So Kriegsmarine. What do I know about this? Well, not much, but I am planning to have this Let's Play or showcase as a learning curve for myself and even for you guys. I mean, some of you guys watching this probably are experts and veterans and played the previous titles. But for some people it's going to be new, like for me. So I'm basically maybe going to do this Let's Play a bit like I did the Operational Art of War 4. It's going to be a learning experience for me. To go through how this game actually works. Now, having said that, this game is not as complex to play as maybe squad battles and panzer battles and panzer campaigns and modern campaigns. But it is still a very complex game. But I mean, the basic mechanics of playing the game, you could probably learn pretty fast by just doing the getting started file. But then there's a massive depth to this game. And what I've heard, many experts out there who have talked about this game, is it's very accurate portray of actual naval battles and naval campaigns during the well, this title here covers the Second World War, the Kriegsmarine, a focus on the German war navy is what Kriegsmarine basically means. But the naval forces of Germany, mostly duking it out versus the British, the United Kingdom there, and of course the United States later on, actually quite early on as well, with the U-boat wars versus the when they were sending ships of supplies and stuff over to Europe. So the Lend-Lease Act and all that. But it's going to be focusing on a lot of actual battles and forgotten battles and things that hasn't really been in the spotlight in history so much. But then, of course, some really famous stuff as well. Right, so this is what the game looks like when you fire it up. See, I can actually move the game here as I'm moving the mouse around. Yeah, so here are the scenarios. There's a bunch that comes with this title. So we're going to be looking at that later on, I guess. This thing kind of crazy. Yeah, there's lots here. The getting started is good. I'm probably going to be playing in the getting started. I usually never do that when I usually pick something exciting and play it. But for this title, I'm feeling kind of shaky. I probably will be playing the getting started battle. And then if we get hooked on it, we'll try something else out and see how that goes. So, what comes with the game? Well, I did have the main program file open here. You can see there are a lot of, as usual, scenario editors, and I'm actually going to go into the Wargame Designs here, and we're going to be looking at the naval campaigns here, for instance, right? So this is what they got. They got 6 With Kriegsmarine, they have 6 products. And Guadalcanal, Jutland, Toshima, Midway. These are all older titles from the John Tiller era. And Kriegsmarine and Wolfpack are some of the later releases from Wargame Design Studios. Wolfpack, as it says, probably focuses on the submarine warfare. Yeah, so the Battle of Atlantic and Hitler's effort to cut off the lifeline of Great Britain. Wolfpack covers the battles over that lifeline, not only from the perspective of the U-boats, but also of the escort commanders and their cold and lonely vigils along the North Atlantic. So that's what they got there, and the Battle of Midway is one of the more famous battles. Guadalcanal as well, and the Battle of Toshima. This looks old. Yeah, this is the First World War here. Actually, right before the First World War, I guess. 1905. I haven't really checked these titles out. Sort of a whole new chapter for me to explore here, the naval campaigns. But if we look at Kriegsmarine, we will see... Here's a good summation. Many of you guys probably already been here, so there's no point in me reading this out. But you can. It's 58 standalone scenarios, and there's 2 campaigns as well, and that's interesting. I haven't checked those out yet. But the including battles are a sample. Are Narvik, Denmark Strait, North Cape. Numerous convoy attacks in the North English Channel, Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. So that's pretty cool. So that's what the game here on the site is. Let's see. I haven't... I want to open the... well, we'll do that later. Well, we'll just skip to some of these. The change log, apparently... There are new ships and map graphics, 4 additional zoom levels. There's some support for DirectX 11. Secondary gun changes, adding secondary hit percentile value to the PDT to modify these based hit equations. Right, so there's lots of new stuff, and this is new Lua scripting engine to enhance AI performance. I've heard that these games, unlike many of the others, like Panzer campaigns and squad battles and all them, that the AI can be very challenging in this. So that's cool. That's going to be something I probably will feel when I play this. The almighty notes for the game are basically telling why they chose this title, and they wanted to add something new. Apparently that's what they've been doing for all the titles that have been released in the naval campaigns. They always add something new for every title. So they wanted to... at first it seemed unpromising. Well, when Wolfpack opened the entire new aspects of naval war, Kriegsmarine seemed like more of a rehearsal of things that had already been done in Guadalcanal, just moved off to the Atlantic there. Okay, so they did some reading and learning that opened a new realm. The possibility of putting focus on some of the smallest boats, not ships, boats. The war of the Schnellboot, often called E-boats in English. So we worked on how we could simulate those actions and added a selection of their more interesting battles into the game. So that's sort of a new feature that comes with the Kriegsmarine. The other thing we really looked at was how we could improve the engine and how it simulates naval warfare. Much of the work was actually released with the WDS 4.0 version, as most of the work has been done by this time. So they have, I think they have expanded the weather options and implications there. And they made a big graphic update for it too. So that's basically the weather effects, to get damage states and damage control, secondary gun changes, fire versus FC class. And they have this optional rule for silence of torpedoes. We'll probably add a bit more scariness to the game, because apparently you can have that on and you will be warned or hear when the torpedo is fired on you. But if you can actually turn it off, and it means if you actually can't, your crew of your ships can't observe the enemy launching torpedoes, then you won't know what's gonna hit you, basically. So that's kind of scary. Ship displacements, what do they mean by that? Part of the hit calculation. Bigger ship, the easier to hit. Okay, so they made some more implications there, I guess. Yeah. All right, so they have an advanced guide as well. We're going to have a look at that when they actually fire up a battle, I guess. The user manual is actually only 95 pages, which is not that long, considering the amount of research and the complexity of these games, comparing to Panzer campaigns, for instance, or Panzer battles. So the manual's not that big, which is good, I think, because it's easier to handle. But it's a fairly good manual, I think. I mean, it's all here, all the important stuff. So it is quite complex, and it actually, I mean, you really need to have an interest in the naval war to start off with. Otherwise, you should probably not buy these titles if you're not like really interested or really like the naval warfare. But of course, if you want to explore something new, you should definitely get it. I'm still at the learning curve, so I'll probably try this game out a lot and see what it feels, and then maybe I'll have a peek at the other titles there. But this feels kind of overwhelming to start off with, because I'm not used to the naval campaigns. But I guess it's something to get into. It's very interesting. I mean, there happened a lot of stuff on sea as on land, of course. So lots of stuff to get into here. I don't know much. I mean, I know some like broad rules of what actually happened during the naval campaigns, but not that much, actually. I mean, we all know about the U-boat wars, and that the Germans were very successful before their Enigma machine was actually captured and decrypted by the British, and so they could actually trace and find the U-boats, and they got more advanced sonars and stuff, and then basically the U-boats were just sitting ducks, and the Germans started to lose a hell of a lot of U-boats. They produced a lot of them too. I mean, they were spitting those out, hopefully that they would turn the tide. But the Allies actually outsmarted them there and got the hang of how the encrypted messages were and stuff. And they were basically just waiting for them to blew these submarines out of the ocean there. But in the start, the Germans had the good times, or the golden age, whatever they used to call it. I can't remember. And they were really destroying everything on the sea. They really destroyed a lot of the Allied shipments that came, tried to help Britain out, and they were sort of on their knees there for a while, just after the conquest of the Western Europe there. If the Germans had actually launched the Operation Sea Lion with all the preparations they had and stuff, they would have probably had a good chance of taking Britain out of the war. But they focused on the East, and that was their doom, so to speak. Yeah, so it's a pretty good manual here. It's got... I haven't read all of it yet. I've sort of flicked through it and read some stuff, but there's lots to learn here. Lots to learn. So we did have a look at the notes. We did have a look at the change log. And so what actually comes here in the game, if we get the game up again. Yeah, one important thing I could say right now before we actually start playing it, this game is very, very different from, say, Panzer campaigns and Panzer battles and squad battles. It's not turn-based. It's actually real-time. So that's pretty cool. That using this sort of interface and sort of concept of all the Wargame Design Studio games and John Tiller games, they actually even implemented this as a real-time simulator, which is pretty cool. And I understand it works really well, and it's supposed to be one of the better simulations out there. So, lots of stuff coming in here. So, as I said, my knowledge of the naval campaigns is pretty rusty. I mean, naval warfare overall during the World War II. My strength is on land battles and campaigns and stuff. But the battles at sea, man, are just what everybody basically knows who reads history. Some of the more famous battles like Midway and all them. And the battle for Bismarck, the sinking of Bismarck there was pretty intense as well. But they start off, so here they have I guess that's the year. These take part in 1939. These take part in the 1940s up to here. 41. So here you have duration. That means, I think that's 2 hours and 30 minutes, basically. Because getting started, it's around a half-hour action. So that's pretty cool. It's all measured in hours. So they're bunched up to 41. And they have scenarios taking place in 42 as well, 1942. Quite a bit. And in 43, how far does it go? 1944 as well. 30-minute action here. February 5th, 1944, the Germans had a patrol in the western channel of Elbet Wrak with a torpedo boat escorting 2 minesweepers. British force of 4 Hunter-class DE intercepted them, destroyers probably, causing serious damage to one of the MS. It would be finished off in port by the RAF. Yeah, so many of these smaller engagements, I think that's pretty cool. Some more taking place in even have 1945 here. January 11th, 1945. 2 months after the victory of Listafjord, the British returned to the Norwegian coast and again found and mauled a small convoy before it would reach the safety of the shore batteries. U-427 was nearby, but unable to hit the British. Cool! Some really interesting stuff here. Action of Bergen there. All right. Yeah, wow. 20th of January there. And then they have something called a mass battle hypothetical. Purely hypothetical. A massed fleet battle. 2.5 hours. Yeah, so this looks like a fun thing to play here, man. So many of these things actually have taken place, and I don't know what happened, because my knowledge of it is unclear. But the sinking of Her Majesty's Courageous, for instance, September 17th, 1939. The HMS Courageous was on an anti-submarine patrol west of Ireland when it picked up a distress call from a nearby freighter. A group of swordfish was sent along with 2 of her destroyer escorts to find the enemy submarine. However, U-29 was in the vicinity and would soon score the Kriegsmarine's first major coup of the war. Sounds fun, man. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, lots of stuff here, man. So lots of cool scenarios. But then the game itself is kind of a steep learning curve. So I think I'll start off. We'll play through getting started one. Sort of get familiar with what's what. You can see it's a completely different toolbar. And there's actually 2 ways. They have 2 different versions to play this game as well. There's another thing. They have an alternate screen. So this is the standard old school screen. And then they have a new one that they've implemented. It's actually called the alternate interface. Yeah, so it looks kind of different. I guess we could just fire this up. So you're supposed to play the Axis in this getting started. Yeah, here you can see the rules. You have aircraft torpedo resolution, visible torpedoes, or torpedo sounds. You can turn that off, but they recommend you to have it on here for the tutorial there. And it's going to show you what it looks like. So we fired this up. So this is the tutorial. We're going to be playing through this. So actually, hold on. I didn't even read that. Yeah, it says this scenario is used with the getting started introduction to help you get started with the Kriegsmarine game. The scenario is based on a hypothetical between the British and Germans in the North Sea. Okay, so it's not an actual historical battle, but it's sort of two fleets duke it out here in the Channel. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, this is the max zoom out, and this is how you zoom in. They have the mini-map, where you have the red dots are the Germans and the blue are the Allies. So this is where the enemy fleet is, and this is where our fleet is. And so they have different alternate views. You could sort of change it. You could play it like this, or you can go into here, alternate interface. Boom. Completely different. So you have all the controls down here instead. So for instance, we go to the German fleet here. We have battle cruiser Scharnhorst. So you click that and you get, these are all what kind of weapon systems you've got. So I think that's visibility, the yellow. The black is your weapon range, your guns, the maximum range they can fire. This is secondary armament of the battleship, can reach that far. This is where the torpedoes can be launched, I think. So it's starboard and port side. They have that's what that means, I think. And this light blue ring is the range of the torpedoes. That's how far they are actually effective. And the new feature they've added is this, that you can actually measure distance just like this. It's in yards now. But for instance, if I was to go, all right, look at that. It's almost 28,000 yards to the enemy there. 30,000 yards. It's pretty far. I'm myself using the metric system, so for yards for me is kind of something I'm not that familiar with. But this is basically what it looks like here. So you have the battleship here. This is the max zoom in, by the way. You can see it. It's actually paused now, the game. So the game is paused, and once you, this is the runtime here. So once you press this, you can have as fast as 10 times speed there. So pretty cool. You have Admiral Hippe, Blücher, and Nürnberg, Leipzig class. Yeah, I don't know anything about this, man. I'm gonna have to read up on this. What kind of battleship? I mean, everybody knows what a battleship is, right? So battleship is the main, like the main thing, the main battleship cruiser, basically. But this is actually a Scharnhorst class. This is BC, battleship cruiser. CA, heavy cruiser. So there's difference between these. 1,600 crew. There's almost 2,000 crew in that. The Blücher has 1,600. 800. This is a smaller ship. It's just this Leipzig class. Yeah, we're going to go into this later on, but just to show you, it's actually real time. So I'm going to actually do this in the in the next video. There, we're gonna be duking this scenario out, and then maybe we'll try something like with submarines, because there's no submarines in this this particular engagement. It's just big bash up with the destroyers. These are destroyers, I think. Yeah, it's destroyers. Oh, here it actually says, yeah, so they are all destroyers here. Yep. And that would be a battle cruiser, yep. Heavy cruiser. Blisha is also a heavy cruiser. And Nürnberg is a light cruiser, apparently. Okay. Interesting stuff. And we can actually see the enemy over here as well. Of course, we have fog of war on. We don't know what it is. We don't know. Can't see it. So well, it says DD here, so we know these are destroyers. Probably you could probably. These are also main battleships here. And here's the main one. This is the main battleship, battle cruiser of the Brits here. And you can tell what they're traveling there. All right, I'm going into. I'm going to go into this in the next part. I'm going to try this out. But all in all, it's going to be fun to have a whack at this game. See what it's all about. See if I can pull it off. It looks hard, man. Complete. You're gonna have to really rethink your tactics. I don't know. I don't know much of naval tactics, to be honest. I'm gonna have to read some tactical book about it. What kind of cruising speeds they have, or how they maneuver and stuff. I mean, man, I have no idea. We'll just see how it goes. So in the next part, we're gonna actually do some gameplay and fire this up for real, and try to go through that tutorial. I have already played through the tutorial actually, but I think I need to do it a couple of more times to get the feel of the game there. And of course, you need to go into the manual and check some things up, because many of these things you just don't know what it is, basically. So that will be it for this first part. We're going to dive into the second part and actually try and play this game and see how it goes. So I want to thank you for watching there, man. Kriegsmarine from Wargame Design Studio. Naval campaigns, man. All right, so I'll see you in the next part. Have a good one.